Hi guys. Last time I talked about Dennis Wilson's 1977 album Pacific Ocean Blue. If you haven't seen that video, go and check that out. This time we are actually talking and reviewing the meant to be follow-up album for it, Bambu. It was actually released in 2017, but the material itself was originally released in 2008 in the Pacific Ocean Blue double CD set, that reissue set. And actually that set has even some more bonus tracks that this one does not include. But this is a Record Store Day special release, like I said, released in 2017. And I remember the day that this was released and I was so happy. I picked it up immediately. I just checked the prices of this release these days and it's kind of pricey. So I regret not buying several copies back then, because I think it probably cost like 20 or 30 bucks or something like that. Like, it was pretty cheap. And now it goes like some shrink wrapped versions go for like 100 bucks. So it's kind of pricey these days and hard to find. Anyway, great release, and there's really not that much, backstory to it. Just check out the Pacific Ocean Blue review that I did, where I explained sort of the Dennis Wilson backstory up until that point, and this sort of just follows that. So the sessions continued. Dennis had a 2-album record contract with James Garcio's record label, and he continued recording new songs. This time he used more collaborators, so there's even songs that Dennis didn't have any hand in writing with. The material is more or less the same style. Overall, I feel that in these songs Dennis is kind of even more confident compared to, well, Pacific Ocean Blue is also super confident stuff, but I mean, this just might be my take. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but as great as all the Dennis Wilson songs are, I feel like that in the mid-70s and late 70s, he just completely nailed and found that sort of swagger and confidence. He's able to put that into the music in a different way, in a way that he wasn't able to do it before. So compared to the early 70s stuff, for example, as great as they are, it's a little bit different. When we come to this stuff, it's like Dennis Wilson is like, the songwriter and the producer and the solo artist Dennis Wilson is like it's like an icon. The stuff is just so, it's like how do you say that? It's like carved in stone or something, like it's just so clear, the vision, the style, the whole thing, the whole product, it's just right in your face, and it's so clear, it's so confident, and when you hear it, it's so recognizable, it's so personal, just unique, whatever you want to call it, it's just perfect. Anyway, like, this project and these songs are, well, even though they are very much in the same style that were the POB sessions and the songs, but I feel like over here there are more rockers and more sort of commercial style songs, which I feel like could have been hit songs if they were actually released back then and promoted properly, because there's some real good up-tempo rockers on this album. This release is a gatefold double LP, and the cover art, all the pictures are, by the way, taken by Dean Torrent, so it's kind of really nice that they used proper sort of like of the times, like it's sort of like imagined how it maybe could have looked like if it was released in like 78. So I love that fact that it's done with this sort of same people and just, the same kind of style. Love the cover art. And I remember when I actually got this on my hands the first day, it sort of just made me really proud of. It may sound kind of funny because I was born after he had passed, but I just thought about sort of how Dennis, like, if his spirit is somewhere, like, he must be smiling that this stuff is coming out and young people are buying it, and he's looking really cool over here, and it's presented really well and very classy. And yeah, like his music is finding appreciation and new audience many decades after, and it just made me sort of feel very proud and warm that it's like really happening, and I'm witnessing it, and I'm sort of part of it as a fan, and it was just so cool, and still is. The back cover, very nice, green beige design. I really like the font and all, really cool. And then when we open this up, there's this sort of landscape, green landscape, looks very nice, super beautiful, cliff, yeah. And I think there's ocean in the way back, really nice. And the LPs originally came, I have then put them on different sleeves, but they came in these picture sleeves, and there's Dennis down there. The building is some high school. I don't know. I don't remember the story of this photo shoot, but yeah, really interesting stuff. And way back you have credits. A lot of people involved, and there's like a personal thanks by James Garcio. And yeah, all the songs and who wrote what and where it was recorded, and you know, all the guitar players, bass players, all the musicians. Super cool that they actually included that stuff. Then there's a little story written by Ken Sharp about the project and Dennis, and I love that quote in the center. Everything that I am or will ever be is in the music. If you want to know me, just listen. Really nice presentation, you know, of the work. And then the LPs themselves are actually color LPs, and they are super beautiful. They are this sort of marble green, really beautiful design. As you can see, it just sort of reflects light, really like a dark green. It's super beautiful and classy. I love it. But then let's dive into the songs themselves. And right up front, I need to mention, because this project was never officially finished, the track listing is kind of random. Even though the songs themselves are mostly finished, more or less, they don't sound unfinished. The track listing is strange. I would like to know who came up with it, because well, I know that it comes from the CD reissue. It's just basically the same, you know, the same pacing. But I always felt that it was weird, because it goes from like a rocker to ballad to rocker to ballad, and it's kind of all over the place. There's really no pacing or structure, which is a thing that I'm not a fan of, that pacing. I wish that there was more thought put out to this, because it sort of makes it a kind of not too good listen, really, like a listening experience. You really kind of need to take the tracks on some streaming, you know, service, and then create your own playlist to make it flow better. So anyway, the material itself is golden, but I'm not a fan of this track list. But anyway, side one starts off with Under the Moonlight, which is one of these sort of covers, songs by Carli Muñoz. Sort of a fun tune and a very good opener, because it's shows you right at the front that this material is sort of more, I don't know, maybe happy is not the right word, but just kind of goofy. Dennis is sort of making fun of himself a little, you know, with these songs, many of these songs. And there's just this sort of irony. It's just sort of this tongue-in-cheek thing going on. But anyway, just a solid track. But then the second track is one of the most heartbreaking songs by Dennis. Well, it's written once again by Carli, but It's Not Too Late, with also vocals by Carl. It's just a super beautiful and sad song, and the performance is amazing. I really love this. It's impossible to listen to this and not get emotional. It's just kind of, especially when Carl comes in, and it's just, you know, it's really out there. It's very heartbreaking and amazing stuff. Super beautiful composition, and the performance just is so top notch. But it's kind of just strange because it starts off with a rocker and then we're immediately in this sort of with this very heavy heartbreaking ballad, and it's kind of like, okay, like it's kind of hard to get into it. And then the third track, Schoolgirl, is once again like this huge stadium rocker. Musically, I really love it. It's a huge, amazing, catchy rocker. It has this sort of female core. The lyrics are kind of out there, you know. It's kind of like out there in the Hey Little Tomboy, Lady Lizzie category, but you know, it's a great song if you just can really get past the lyrics, which are kind of yeah, like really something. But anyway, Love Remember Me, once again, just a great tune. A classic Dennis Wilson with also lyrics by Steve Kalinich with Greg and Dennis also co-writing. So yeah, amazing tune once again. Really just as good as really anything on Pacific Ocean Blue. Side 2 starts off with Love Surrounds Me, and this is, obviously we know this song from the LA Light album. This version is basically from the Beach Boys album. This version is basically the exactly same version, except that it doesn't have the Beach Boys stuff, you know, the overdubs that they did with the Beach Boys. So, you know, all the Beach Boys vocals and some, you know, some effects and synth things and, you know, stuff like that, so the sweetening and all of that. To be honest, I don't really like to listen to this version. I think the Beach Boys version is superior because this sounds unfinished, which it is. Wild Situation is a Dennis Wilson, Greg Jacobson tune, and this is probably the most commercial sounding song on this album. Sounds like a 70s hit. Just a groovy tune. I really love the sort of the refrain and the chorus. It's just so freaking catchy. And once again, it's like it's a rocker, but it's kind of a fun tune. Like it's not too dark, and I love it how Dennis is able to here sort of do these more lightweight tunes. Common, once again, a ballad, and this is solely written by Dennis Wilson. Beautiful tune. Are You Real, one of my favorites from this project. It sort of reminds me of Time from Pacific Ocean Blue. It's kind of similar. It's got this heavy beat at the end, and I'm not sure if Dennis... It sounds like Dennis is playing drums on it, but I'm not sure. There's many drum players on this project, so I'm not sure. But yeah, just a super beautiful tune. I love the "Are You My Vision?" Yeah, that's just I don't know, the way Dennis sings it, it's just so... Are you real? It's just so beautiful, like the way he's able to put that soul into the voice and in the song. It's like you cannot even, like it's impossible to imagine anybody else singing these songs, because the way he sang it, he just owned every song that he sang. Side 3 opens up with He's a Bum, which is a song that I originally sort of just thought of as sort of nothing. I was like, okay, that's like a funny tune, whatever. It's got this piano thing, sort of like this bar bluesy rocker thing, like he's a bum. And I was like, okay, it's a funny tune, little tune, but actually I've grown to love it a lot, especially the middle part and the tag part. It just goes into this suddenly into this super heartbreaking melody and this sort of this mood piece, and it's like, oh man, like even inside this funny little tune, Dennis is able to pull your heartstrings and sort of make you feel very emotional suddenly. It's like, like how can you do this? It's anyway, it's just mostly it's a fun tune, but there's that little part where it's like it just goes so heartbreaking suddenly. Cocktails, another ballad. Once again, just a beautiful tune. I Love You. Actually, this song is something that I cannot really recall how it goes. You know, so, you know, this is probably the worst moment of me as a reviewer on this channel, but yeah, I cannot really say anything about it because I cannot recall how it goes. But anyway, it's just great song. I've listened to all of these tracks multiple times, but when I listen to this, there's quite a lot of songs over here. When I listen to this whole thing, I don't really concentrate on the names of the songs themselves. I'm just listening to the whole thing each time I listen to this. I never go back and listen to separate songs really. I always just listen to the whole thing, and yeah, anyway. Constant Companion ends the side 3, and it's once again a song by Carli Muñoz, and this time also written by Rex Baker. I don't know who that is, but Constant Companion is once again just a super commercial sounding groovy, like it just sounds like a hit song. It's just got this really nice sort of exotic beat, and yeah, it's just super catchy, fun, and I guess the lyrics were sort of meant to be sort of spiritual, but you can also really think about that as a sort of love song, and the way Dennis once again just sings it, he just owns it, and he's so soulful in the vocals, and I love the way he sounds on it. Side 4 opens up with Time for Bed. I can't really recall how it goes, but anyway, you know, I love it. Album tag song, it's sort of an epic tune. I love that one, and it's solely credited to Dennis. It's pretty cool. All Alone is the last song on the album by Carli Muñoz, and I love that one. That might be my favorite of the tracks that he wrote on this album. Dennis is giving such a... I remember reading, I think it was in the John Stebbins book, a story about Dennis recording the vocals for this track, that he was just so blown away by this tune, and he was like calling Carli on the phone because he couldn't remember all the lyrics, and then he was like, it was like night maybe, and he was really wanted to record it, and then after he had done the vocals, he felt that he maybe overdid them, that he was like too into it or something like that, like maybe it was like a little bit too much or something, that he was kind of insecure about it. But I think he just sounds phenomenal on it. I think this track is just so haunting and dark and moody, and the saxophone on it and the whole instrumentation and Dennis's voice, this sort of rough voice that he has on it, is just... It's kind of interesting because the lyrics and the melody is kind of, you know, it's kind of like weeping and stuff like that, but then you have this really rough voice singing these words, and it gives that contrast. It's something that you don't often hear. And then the album ends off with piano variations on Thoughts of You, and basically it's just this 3-minute piece of Dennis playing piano. And I never, you know, Thoughts of You is a song from Pacific Ocean Blue. I don't really hear that song on this track. Maybe there's like similar chords going on or something, but to me this is just like 3 minutes of Dennis playing beautiful melodies on piano. And it's a perfect way to end the album. It is a very emotional experience to dim down all the lights in your room and, you know, just close your eyes and put this on, listen to it with, you know, good volume up, and just for that moment, for those you know 3 minutes, he basically appears in your room just playing the piano, and plays it so beautifully. And I love that one. It's a great way to end this album, and sort of brings it all together to where it started. And yeah, great music. The pacing is sort of all over the place, but this is really a must listen, and if you can find this, pick it up. But anyway, it's a must listen to all the Beach Boys fans and Dennis Wilson fans. And once again, just what could have been, you know, if this was released and if it was promoted properly. I think there might have been some at least minor hits on it, because there's a commercial sound on many of these tunes. It's a strong album. If you take, you know, handpick the best of the bunch, it would have been a very strong album, just as strong as Pacific Ocean Blue. And yeah, you know, it's a sad thing that the whole thing just sort of, you know, ended up not happening because of Dennis's problems, addictions, and all of that, you know. But it is what it is, and I'm extremely grateful that we as fans now in the 2000s have this music to listen to, and we can, you know, celebrate it and you know, enjoy it for the rest of our lives. And very grateful for Dennis for that, because this music and the Pacific Ocean Blue music and all of his other tunes released in the Beach Boys catalog and so on have helped me so much, just like Brian's tunes. To me, Dennis is the second most important songwriter in the Beach Boys saga. His music touches me in similar ways than Brian's, but also in different ways, and sometimes even more deeply. So he is extremely important, has been extremely important to me as a musician and a songwriter for now like 15 years, and will be for the rest of my life, and I'm extremely grateful for that. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this material? Do you own the LP or the double CD? I don't have the double CD, I need to find it, because there's some tunes on it that are not over here. For example, the instrumental Mexico, which is a highlight, dear favorite of mine. I love that Mexico track, even though it's a little bit repetitive, but it sort of reminds me of Ennio Morricone scores, so I really love that piece. But there's some other tunes also, for example Holy Man, both the instrumental and the Taylor Hawkins version, and I actually really love the Taylor Hawkins version too. I think he was a really great singer, and it's really sad what happened to him. He sort of just followed the Dennis Wilson path, sadly. But yeah, I really love Holy Man too. It would have been really cool to hear a Dennis Wilson vocal on that one, because the composition and the melody is so beautiful. And there's really something prophetic about that one too. But yeah, I think there's a few other tunes as well there that are not over here. Not really sure. But it would be so cool, just a message for the Dennis Wilson estate and whoever owns the rights, I don't know, please, someday, soon, put out a Dennis Wilson box set. Include Pacific Ocean Blue, Bambu, outtakes, instrumental mixes, remasters, maybe some live stuff, you know, do a collaboration with the Beach Boys catalog, you know, because I know that they did some Dennis Wilson solo songs during the Beach Boys tour. I'm pretty sure in '77, maybe. River Song at least. So, you know, include some of that stuff. It would be so great. You Are So Beautiful, you know, the live version of You Are So Beautiful. It would be just so great to have a Dennis Wilson box set. Please put that out. Make it happen. Whatever, you know, make it happen, please. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you hopefully soon again on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.